We are ready to get started with weight training today. So we're going to warm up with our regular warm up, feet about hip width apart. Start just bringing a little movement into your core, some nice light swings, checking in, loosening things up, making sure everything's okay today. From there, go ahead and lift your heels, turn a little further, maybe go a little faster. Maybe let your arms swing out a little further. Two more to each side. And then bring it back into center. From here, we're going to move into our shoulders. Nice big arm circles forward. And then arm circles backwards. And then throw those arms in and out across your chest. Beautiful. Now that we've loosened everything up there, we're going to move into our elbows. And then go the other way. And then down into your wrists. And go the other way there. And then squeeze those fingers in and out. Make sure your hands are warmed up too, so you can have a good grip. Perfect. And then from here, moving into your hips. If you're standing, you're just going to do some nice big hip rotations. If you're seated, just start popping those knees side to side, loosening up your hip flexors a little bit. Beautiful. If you're standing, go the other way. And then moving down into your knees. Bring your feet in together. Pop your knees forward and back. And if that feels okay, maybe add some small circles in one direction. If you're seated, you're just going to be swinging those legs back and forth to loosen up your knees. If you're standing, go the other way. And then we're going to finish off with our ankles. So pick one foot up, twirl that foot around in one direction, and then the other direction. Put that foot down and go to the other side. And go the other way. Beautiful. All right, we are ready to get started. So our first exercise today is going to be dumbbell swings. Now, for this exercise, if you're standing, you're going to bring your feet out a little bit, leaning forward, and then as you stand up, you're going to swing the dumbbells up nice and high. If you're seated, sit right at the edge of your chair, and you do the same thing. Lean forward, swing them back, sit up, swing them forward. Gonna really get a little blood pumping here and work your back and shoulders. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. When you lean forward, bend your knees, but try to keep a nice flat back. And then as you push off to come up, you're kind of exploding up, really working those back muscles and the back of the legs. You got it. Keep going. Almost there. You can do it. Time. Beautiful. All right. Up next, we have weighted squats with an overhead press. So for this one, you can do a regular squat and then come up for your overhead press. You can do a sit to stand with your chair, or if your knees or hips are acting up and you want to just stay seated, you can just focus on that overhead press. So choose your variation. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Nice and steady. Use this first set to work on your form and kind of feel the exercises out, especially if you're unfamiliar. And then you can decide from there where you want to go with your second set and your third set. Beautiful, looking good. Over halfway there. Time. Perfect. Go ahead and set those weights down. Shake your arms out. Up next, we're going to do a single arm exercise. We're going to do a row with a kickback. So you're going to take the weight in your left hand, put your left foot in back, and then from here, you're leaning forward. You're going to row it up and then kick it back. Now, if you're doing the seated version, you do the same thing. Lean forward on the edge of your chair, row it up, and kick it back. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. You want to make sure you have good posture on this one. So straight back, looking down towards the floor so your head, neck, and back are all in a line. And try to pull that shoulder blade in when you pull up for your row, so you feel it kind of pulling in towards your spine. Nice and steady. Remember, you can always adjust your stance or your hand position or really anything else that feels uncomfortable. You want to feel your muscles work, but you don't want to feel any pinching or pulling or any pain. Time. Beautiful. Shake that arm out. And then we got to switch to the other side. So this time, weight in the right hand, right foot in back. And again, check your stance, make sure you're nice and steady. And then we have 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Row it up, kick it back. Really focusing on that shoulder blade coming in towards the spine. That's what's really going to work those back muscles. Beautiful. You got this. Nice and steady. Almost there. And time. Put those weights down. Shake everything out this time. And then up next, we're going to have our upward flies. So this one's really going to work your chest muscles. And you want to go with pretty light weight on this one. You're going to hold the weight out to the sides, and you're going to bring it up towards the center, like an upside down V, just like that. Same thing seated. Nice and steady. 1 minute. Here we go. Keep a soft bend in your elbows. And you can bring it down to right at your sides, or if you have the range of motion and you want to flex it back a little bit, that works. A few extra stabilizer muscles in there. Well, this one is a hard one. It's muscles that a lot of women especially don't work very much. So if you need to take a pause, feel free. And then try to get right back to it. Beautiful, you got this. And time. Nice, once again, put those weights down, shake everything out, give your arms a quick break. The next one is gonna be a goblet raise, which is also gonna work the shoulders. So make sure you wiggle your arms out. So for the goblet raise, we're gonna do a front raise, but with our hands in together. You can do it with a single weight, just like this. And you wanna bring it up as high as you comfortably can. Or you can do double weight, depending on what weights you're working with. But you're just going straight up and straight down. And you wanna try not to arch your back. So squeeze that tummy in nice and tight. Sink a little bit in your stance there. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Again, keeping that soft bend in your elbows. If you find that to get the weight up over your head, you're having to lean back and heave it, that's a little too high a weight for this exercise. So you can always put one down or even just do this one empty hand. Check in with your breathing. Even with that tummy squeezed in nice and tight, you should be able to take steady, smooth breaths. You may feel this through your side body in addition to your shoulders and arms. That's okay. Again, especially if you get that tummy squeezed in nice and tight, you should feel a little burn through your core. Beautiful. Set that weight down. Give everything a little wiggle again, and then go grab some water. That's one set done, 2 to go. All right, bring it back in. We are back up to the dumbbell swings, but before we start the second set, check in. Does everything feel okay? Now that you've got the form down, you know what exercises you're doing today. Do you want to up the weight? Do you want to lower the weight? Do you want to push a little faster or go a little slower? Make all those adjustments for your second set because now you know what to expect. All right, grab those weights. Get ready for your dumbbell swings. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Nice and steady. Even when you're seated, you can push off with your feet as you come up to really help engage those leg muscles in addition to your back. Beautiful, you got this. Almost there. Time. Perfect. All right, up next, we have the weighted squats with the overhead press. So grab those weights, rack them up, and here we go. Whether you're doing the air squats, chair squats, or sit to stands, you still want to keep your tummy squeezed in nice and tight. And take that pause to do a good overhead press at the top. Beautiful, you got it. You can make the overhead press part easier or harder, depending on whether you hold the dumbbells out in front of your shoulders or rest them lightly on your shoulders while you're doing your squat. Up to you. And time. All right, from here, we're going into that row plus kickback, starting on your left side, 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Head, neck, and back in a nice straight line. Pulling the shoulder blade in. Nice and steady. Checking in with your breathing, making sure everything's smooth. You got this. Almost there. And time. Put that weight down, give that arm a little wiggle, and then go to the other side. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Beautiful. I find that when I'm doing this in the seated pose, I push more on my back leg, which helps keep my lower body more engaged. So it's fun to play with the different variations sometimes and see how it changes what muscles you use, depending on what stance or whether you're seated or standing. And you may find, even if you like the standing version, that the seated version works things a little bit differently and is good to switch up sometimes. Time. All right, shake those arms out. And then up next, we have the upward flies. Grab your weights, 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Beautiful. Nice and steady. Don't worry about being in a hurry. If you just like to go fast, you can. But building muscle, it's not a speed race. It's okay to slow it down and take your time. Almost there. And time. Beautiful. Put those weights down. Give everything a nice shake. And then our last exercise we have for this set is that goblet raise. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Squeezing that tummy in nice and tight. Keeping yourself working those core muscles the whole time. Try not to let your head move. That's a good way to tell if you really have a good strong core that you're using and keeping engaged, is if your head is staying still while you're doing these exercises. So if you're bobbling all around, got to work on tightening that core a little more. It's okay, it takes practice. And of course, building muscle. Almost done. Time. Excellent. Whew. All right. Another set down. Shake those arms out. Go grab some water. And then we have one set to go. All right, bring it back in. We're back at the top with those dumbbell swings. Again, take this opportunity between sets to make any adjustments that you need. If you're still feeling good, maybe up the weight, maybe go a little harder. If you're already getting tired, maybe lower the weight. Finish out this last set, taking a little lighter. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Perfect, you're doing awesome. Remember that push up. So you're engaging all the way down your posterior chain. Really just exploding out of that. Almost there. And time. All right, next up, squat plus overhead press. Grab those weights, rack them on your shoulders. Here we go. Beautiful, you got it. Whatever variation you choose, still take the time to do each part of it well. So you're not blending things and missing parts of it. That doesn't give you a very good workout and it can risk injury. So make sure you're taking the time to do it correctly. Beautiful, time. All right, up next, row plus kickback, starting on the left side. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Check in again with your breathing. Sometimes after heavier exercises like the dumbbell swings and the squats, we can get a little out of breath. So make sure that you can still breathe smoothly. Ideally, you should be able to say a short sentence without having to pause to catch your breath. Almost there. And time. Woo. Shake that arm out. Switch everything over to the other side. And then we've got 1 minute on this side. Here we go. Nice and steady. Whew, I'm definitely sweating. Those dumbbell swings get me every time. Beautiful. You look fantastic. And time. Set everything down. Give that arm a wiggle too. And then we have the upward flies. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Remember to flex it back a little bit at the end if you can. If not, that's okay. But it does help give a little extra on that chest engagement. Perfect. Almost done. And time. Whew. Set those weights down. Give everything a little shake. And then we'll finish off with one more set of those goblet raises. And then we're done with our weight exercises and it'll be time for that stretch. All right, last one. Here we go. Tummy in tight. Sink in that stance just a little bit. Soft knees, soft hips. Perfect. The goblet raise is a great exercise. It's actually the same motions as the dumbbell pullover that's done on the mat. So it really gives you a good core and upper body at the same time. But doing it standing up, you also get to keep your legs engaged. I really like this one. And time. Whew. Set everything down, shake everything out, grab some water. And then the last thing we have is our stretch. All right, clear your space, make sure your weights are out of the way. And then we'll bring it in. Let's start with our feet far apart in a nice wide stance. We're gonna bring our arms up overhead. And then as we exhale, bend forward and reach down towards the mat. Just pause here for a second. And then with a nice big bend in your knees, come all the way up and roll your shoulders down and back. We're gonna do that again. Breathe them up. And then exhale them down. And then come up and roll the shoulders down and back. One more time, breathe them up. Exhale them down. And then come up halfway. And you're just gonna come over to the side, take your opposite hand and reach around. Grab whatever is in reach, your calf, your knee, whatever. Just get a little side body stretch there. And then release, come back through center and go to the other side. And then release, come back through center. And then you're gonna stretch your arms out right in front of you. Push back into your hips just for one breath here. You should feel a little stretch through the backs of your legs. And then come all the way up. Beautiful, bring those feet in. From here, you're gonna take one arm, bring it across your chest. Take a nice deep breath. Feel that little stretch through the front of your shoulder. And then if it feels good, maybe add just a little nod up and down to massage out your neck just a bit. And release. Go to the other side. Again, pause here for a second. And then if it feels good, add that little nod up and down. And release. And then from here, reach up to pat yourself on the back. And then pull that elbow back towards the wall behind you. And release. And then go to the other side on that one. Beautiful. One more breath here. And release. And then you're gonna step 1 foot forward. If you're seated, same thing, just put 1 foot forward. And then just lean down till you feel a nice stretch through the back of your leg. And then come up nice and slow. Switch sides. Lean forward. Nice slow breath here. And then come up nice and slow. Now, if you have a chair, this one's going to be really easy. If you don't, you probably want to sit on the floor for this one. We're going to do a figure 4 stretch. So you're going to bring your left foot across your right, either ankle, shin, or knee, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then you're just going to lean forward. You can lightly press the knee to open up your hip just a little bit more if that feels good. One more breath here. And then sit up. Release that knee. Put the foot down and switch sides. Same thing. Lightly press on that knee if it feels good. Lean forward with a nice flat back just until you get a good stretch. And then we're going to take a couple good breaths here. One more breath. And then sit up nice and slow. Put that foot on the floor. Maybe bop the legs out just a little bit. Loosen everything up. And you are all done. Great job today. I will see you next week.